Welcome to Raising Roots Abroad. George here, and I decided I want to do a talking head video today. I don't know what's going to become of my channel besides doing the vlogs, the weekly vlogs, but sometimes I want to talk more. And I want to do these talking head videos every once in a while. Who knows, maybe I'll do more of these. I'm just feeling really like alive, really regenerated, with lots of energy. Or is the word revigorated? That's probably the word I'm looking for. Totally energized. You know, I was born in Texas, and then I grew up in a couple different states in Pennsylvania till I was 8 years old, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And then I moved to San Diego around when I was right before I was 9 years old. I moved to San Diego, and then I kind of grew up in San Diego on the water, and then moved to Florida, and then back and forth to Texas, Austin and such. But I was born in Houston. So anyway, the reason I bring that up is because yesterday, if you look at my newest video, I'll leave a link right here. You guys can take a look at that. It's just, I feel like it was my favorite, maybe my best video that I made so far, because just being on the water with Jun and Jojo. Jun is my brother-in-law, and he took me out on his pump boat, and they're fishermen, and their father was also a fisherman. So they learned how to do that. They grew up being fishermen and building boats. Not only do they know how to build boats, they also know how to build homes. So it's quite amazing skill set that they have. But just being on the water reminded me when I was in San Diego from my childhood years up until high school. I used to go to the ocean pretty much every day. A lot of boogie boarding, surfing, swimming. And I also used to go spearfishing, sometimes with my brother, sometimes alone. And used to use things called Hawaiian sling. They had this big rubber, kind of thick rubber type band where you just cock it and then let the spear go. And I love doing those things. And my father had a number of boats, and we used to go fishing. It's really different in America, of course, than the Philippines. Philippines is really grassroots. I mean, they build their boats themselves, at least in the province. And I watched my brother-in-laws do that. They're building boats. And right now, my brothers, I'll just call them my brothers, they're building a boat for us, for them. And I think it's going to be a little bigger boat, because when I went out on the pump boat yesterday with them, I'm kind of big. I'm a lot bigger than the normal Filipino. And when I get in the boat, their boat's a little smaller, the one I went out on. And I'm kind of, when I get in there and the waves are big, I'm kind of sinking it a little. It's kind of funny. And we're pitching water, taking the water out every once in a while so we won't sink. And it was kind of wavy yesterday with some big waves for this area, kind of blown out. But it's just so amazing. I feel like that's where I'm one with God. I feel like on the water is where my energy is most, I don't know, maybe it's utilized there. I feel so much energy, and it's just a good energy. And it kind of puts me in my purpose. So I also noticed that the Filipinos here in the province and in San Isidro, my family and friends, they're sharing the videos. They really like the videos when we're kind of doing that together. It's like their livelihood, and I'm jumping in there, and I feel honored to do that they allow me to do that. They're happy that I come with them, and I want to do this more. So the channel is going to really be going towards this as soon as maybe the boat will be available in the next month or two. But as often as I can, I will go fishing with June. So maybe some early mornings, maybe some later afternoons when he goes. Yesterday when we went, we were throwing the net uh, in the beginning of the afternoon. It's not. I don't think it's really the best time, but it was still high tide, so that's good. Because then the reason why it's good high tide is we can get the boat out there from where they live, because the water will come closer to their house, to their belay, instead of having to push it, like carry the boat, which is quite heavy, to the water and then pushing it out. So when we dropped the nets yesterday, we dropped the nets and then we just brought them in quickly, and then we just caught a couple small fish. But they told me when we dropped the nets the second time, and they said they're going to come back and get those later in the evening. Well, they said that one was full of fish, and they were able to feed their families and then sell quite a bit of it. So I was really happy to hear that they were able to sell quite a bit. I mean, make a good amount of cuarta from that catch. So that's awesome. This is really peaceful here. This is on our back patio. We have a patio on the front, but this is my favorite one. It's off from our bedroom, and it just comes back here into a road that's not really that busy. And it's really the nice area of the province here. So anyway, guys, I want to say that it's really changed me. I talk a lot about it in my videos. What's really changed me is doing. Let me just put it this way: when I was younger, my faith tended to be Christian based, tended to be following Jesus, and then at a certain point in my life, I was proclaiming I was Christian. But since that time, as I've grown older, I no longer profess any faith. I just follow God, and I do believe in Jesus. But when I pray and when I do affirmations, for everyone, it's very personal. It's very private, But for me, as I get older, I don't mind sharing things that I think in my mind, just kind of on my vlog. And then some people will totally disagree with what I say and sometimes attack because they believe in a different way. And some other people will hear it and say, yeah, they agree with that, or it kind of falls into their principles a little bit. But what I say is, what I profess is just kindness, love, and compassion for my fellow man, my fellow woman, my fellow human being, all sentient beings. I profess nothing but peace, love, and compassion. And the faith that I hold is, when I pray, I believe that God has given all of us the same tools. No one is higher or lower. There's no duality. And this is just my opinion. I'm just a simple person. But this is what's helped me to grow, is by realizing that professing a religion, proclaiming that you are this or that. I am this. I am Christian. I am Jewish. I am Muslim. I am Buddhist. I believe in Brahmin, things like that. One of the Indian faiths. Hindu, Punjabi. There's different faiths there all over the world. Do you really think God said there's only one way? There's only one way we should believe in? That there should be a religion that causes separation? Even to the clothes we wear? The things that we think? The things that we believe and hold on to so hard-headedly that causes separation from our fellow human beings? Is that really what God wants for us? Those are the things that come into my mind. As I mentioned in the videos, the questions I asked over and over again for years upon years. For more than 8 years, I would sit in meditation and ask, who am I? Who am I? Just I'm going to tell you the way I did things. And I'm not asking you to do what I do or believe what I believe. I just want to share. I feel moved to share. So what I do is before I go to bed at night when I'm really tired, sometimes I feel moved to be really working on my videos, to really be working on the script, writing my script. And then when I'm tired, good and tired, I'll lay down in my bed. And then before I lay down, I sit up. But sometimes I'm so tired, I'll just lay down. It doesn't really matter. And then what I'll do is to get myself into that the theta place where we are, where our mind is right before sleep, where we're just about sleeping, but we're still awake. When I'm tired, I'll count from 100 to 1 backwards. So in that way, it stops my thought process. It kind of slows it down because I'm focused on the numbers. But as I get better with that over the years, I will just count from 10 to 1. And if I feel like my mind's still wandering all over the place, I'll count from 10 back to 1 again. And I might do it all the way, like 100 to 1, because I've counted 10 to 1 so many times if my mind's really wandering. But when I'm really tired, my mind's kind of easier to be pliable, not to be so hard-headed. So I'll do that. And then when I feel very peaceful, where my mind is kind of being allowed to be tamed, at that time I'll take a very deep breath through my mouth. Then I'll hold it for 7 seconds. Just and then I will follow it down with my mouth closed, all the way down to my decolleté. And I will just follow the breath to there. And then the last thing I do before I do anything else is I imagine my brain, and then I go to the back of my head. I just am imagining this. And then I'm lifting my brain or the back of my head up above myself or to the top of my head, not outside, but inside my body. And I'm lifting it up, back and up. It's like proclaiming my higher self. But I imagine my brain doing that. And then I will do either affirmations, and I will say maybe 3 times out loud before I start just doing it quietly inside myself. And the affirmations might be different ones depending on what I'm focused on. If I'm focused on my own self, like my own health, improving my health, if I want to improve my finances, if I want to improve my physical endurance so I can run farther because I like to jog. If I'm thinking for someone else, this is what I call prayer. If I'm praying for someone else, like someone else, maybe my wife wants something, one of our children wants something, or maybe someone I know that I was touched by, I feel like I want to pray for that person, or maybe another family member. Could be a stranger, but most often it's a family member that might have some issue come up. So what I'll do is I don't fall to my knees and beg and pray. I use the tools that I feel God has given us. And I will imagine, say it's for improved health. Maybe my daughter is sick. I will see my daughter at the end of the story when she's no longer sick. I won't see her getting better or healing slowly and getting better, or healing quickly, I'll see her at the end of the story. I want to see her well. And what are the things that my daughter, maybe I'm looking at Rain, maybe Tenzing, maybe Chloe, or maybe it's for David. But maybe I'll say baby Rain, maybe she has a sickness. Maybe she's coughing. Maybe she has phlegm. I'll go to the end of the story. I'll see her well. The things that she does when she's well, running around the house, laughing, giggling, jumping, getting into all types of mischievous behavior. I'll picture that. I'll picture what she's doing, like jumping, laughing, playing with her brothers and sisters. I'll picture that in my mind before I go to sleep. And then I'll feel happy. I'll feel the happiness. Like maybe Caroline will say something to me. Wow, it's great to see baby Rain well. Look at her running around. Isn't this wonderful? Isn't it wonderful? She's better. And then when Caroline says it, I'll feel something. Or I might just feel a joy inside me when I see her well. So then I will go to sleep. And sometimes I can't get that emotional feeling of joy unless I play it over and over again, the scenario. It might just take me 20 seconds. It might take me 5 or 10 minutes, depending on when I get that joyful feeling. And then sometimes I can't get that feeling, that emotional state, and that's fine. I'll just put it out there and go to sleep. Because for me, I have faith, because it's happened so many times in my life, for me and other people, that God answers us in our imaginational state and is waiting for us to find that tool, to find our higher selves, to be able to manifest those things with the tools that God's given us. You might not believe that at all, but even when I was going to church as a Christian and falling to my knees and praying and doing the things that the pastor told me to do, God seldom answered my prayers. And sometimes my prayers were selfish, focused on myself. I would call those selfish, more self-centered focus, which is normal. Or sometimes they'd be for other people, but seldom were those prayers answered. But when I was able to, the prayers were being answered, those were the ones I manifested without even knowing, because I was picturing things in my mind at the right times. Maybe before I went to bed, or when I just woke up in the morning, when I just wake up in the first 5 minutes when I wake up, that's when I feel like the most power we have, that God gives us that energy connection to hook up to God's energy, which is everywhere. And we're like the antenna, but if we don't put the antenna in the right spot, we won't get the proper reception. I used to focus on a lot of negativity, and I was unknowingly doing that, because before I went to bed, or when I woke up in the morning, I'd have those negative thoughts, the ego-based thoughts of, I'm not good enough, I can't do it, not smart enough. And the people that are successful doing that already have money, or already have this, or already have that. They've already went to school for this or that or whatever. They would have something that I didn't have. That was my negative thoughts. When I discovered what I truly am, and I'm saying this in the most humble way, you guys, because I don't believe I'm any better or any worse than any other person in this world. And I'm definitely not higher or lower than anybody in this world. I don't put myself there. I put myself in an equal playing field as everybody else, because that's how God sees us. God sees us in love. But I would focus on those negative states because of my thinking. And then I would, when I became aware of that, I said, how do I change that? I'm praying so much. And then people would tell me, well, George, you don't have enough faith. You don't have enough faith. You just have to keep doing it. Just keep believing. But that didn't work. So when I discovered the tools that we have, and I discovered how to tap into them free of charge, Neville Goddard, I discovered Florence Scovel Shen, Joseph Murphy. And what these people have in common is they all were faith-based. They believed in God, and all three of those ones I mentioned followed Jesus Christ. But they didn't believe any religion could get you there. They believed it was in our thinking states and how our thoughts control what happens in our life. Whatever we reflect off of ourselves, we attract from the physical world around us. That was what they had in common. So I wanted to know how. So I found their teachings online for free. I found how they manifested, how to change even one negative thought, how to turn it into positive. And not by doing, they couldn't do it for me. No one could do it for me. Even God couldn't do it for me. God was waiting for me to discover the tools that he already put inside us. And I discovered them. And for the past 9 years, I've been practicing them. And my joy is sharing these things in the videos I make. These are my deepest self, the things I share, the thoughts that come to me to write these scripts that all relate to a life of transformation.